Hello friends, welcome to all in this video lecture. I am Miss Vidya Kalebag. Today we are going to learn new concept or new topic, that is authority delegation and centralization and decentralization of authority in the chapter number 2, organizing and staffing. First we will see what is mean by authority delegation. Authority delegation is transfer of authority and responsibility to the subordinate and making them accountable. That is authority delegation. Means if manager require his subordinate to perform the work, he must entrust him with part of rights and power which he otherwise would have to exercise himself to get the work done. And why this authority is delegated to subordinate? Because a manager is an enterprise, cannot do all the work himself. He has no capacity to do all work and to take all decision. His decision making capacity is limited. Therefore, he assigned part of his work to his subordinates along with proper authority to accomplish the task. Means this downward pushing of authority to make his decision is called as delegation of authority. It should be remembered that delegating authority means the manager does not surrender his authority. The manager still retains overall authority. That is the delegation of authority. Means manager does not surrender his authority by pushing the authority to subordinate. The manager still retain overall authority. Then characteristics of delegation. It is necessary for subordinate to act within the boundary. This is the characteristics. Then second one is decision and for execution of policy. Authority is delegated. Then third one is authority depend on the nature of work, confidence, etc. Fourth one is manager does not surrender his authority. Fifth one is delegating work does not mean avoiding work. The next one is delegation may be specified or general, implies or written, formal or informal. Then last one is delegation of authority is an art. It involves use of personal skill. These are the characteristics of delegation. The next one is steps in authority delegation. First step is determination of result expected. Means it is necessary for manager to define the result to be obtained from his subordinate in achieving organizational goals. These are the first step of authority delegation. Then second one is assign duties. Assign duties means the manager then assign duties and tasks to be completed to each subordinate. He must clearly define the function to be carried out by each subordinate while assigning duties. Manager must ensure that subordinate has understood his task and accepted duties. Duties should be assigned by considering considering qualification, experience and capacity of subordinate. Means while assigning the duties, manager should be consider qualification, experience and capability of subordinates. The next one is giving authority or give authority. Means assignment of duties should along with proper authority. Means while assigning duties, manager should give authority to the subordinate. Means subordinate cannot discharge their duties without proper authority. By granting authority, subordinates are allowed to use resource to take the decision. Means giving authority is the third step of authority delegation. Then next one is create accountability of performance. Means the subordinate to whom authority is delegated must be made answerable for the proper performance of assigned duties. The extent of accountability is depend upon extent of delegation of authority and responsibility. Subordinate cannot be held accountable for these acts which are not assigned to him. These are the steps in authority delegation. The next one is advantages of authority delegation. First one is it relieves manager from heavy work. Means delegation of authority relieves the manager from heavy work. He can thus concentrate on important managerial work to accomplish the organizational work. For example, it is a wastage of time if manager is concentrating on lower level work like maintaining time card. Such work should be delegated to lower level supervisor. The second one is it leads better decision making. Means subordinate is the close with the fact. It leads to better decision making. This is also advantages of authority delegation. For example, regional or area sales manager are in the best position to allocate sales territories along the salesman, then sales manager at headquarters. This is the example of to lead in better decision. Then third one is it speed up decision making. When task is assigned to subordinate with proper authority to take decision, it is not necessary for subordinate to consult superior for decision making. Thus, delay is eliminated along with decision. Means delay is eliminated, making decision quickly. This is also advantages of authority delegation. It helps to train subordinate and build up their morale. Means effective delegation causes subordinate to accept responsibility and give judgment on it. Such delegation of authority improves managerial quality in subordinate by increasing his morale. Thus, delegation of authority process helps to create a new batch of talented manager. It creates a healthy working environment. It improves interaction and understanding between manager and subordinate. Then next advantages is it helps to create organizational structure. Means organizational structure is incomplete without superior and subordinate relationship. Proper delegation of authority creates good relationship between superiors and subordinates. Then next one is it helps in managerial development. Means through delegation of batch of lower level manager get valuable experience in decision making. They get an opportunity to develop their skill and ability which are important for higher position. Thus it is development of young executive. This can be used in expansion and diversification of business through young, talented and confident manager. And then last one is accept additional responsibility. Means juniors are not ready to accept the additional responsibility. Hence, by delegating authority to make decision, they can accept additional responsibility. These are the advantages of authority delegation. The next point is barriers to effective delegation. First one is fear of loss of power. Means from barrier to effective delegation. And means effective delegation have two barriers. First one is superior barrier and second one is subordinate side barrier. Means this effective delegation of authority have two barriers. First one is on the side of superior side and on the second one is on the side of subordinate side. First we will see barriers from superiors. First one is barrier fear of loss of power. Means some manager want to keep the authority with them and want to take all the decision. They feel uncomfortable by seeing a subordinate taking a decision. They think that delegation will reduce their influence in the organization. Such manager always want to make their presence felt and always he have deserve that their subordinates should come regularly for approval. This fear of loss of power do not allow them to delegate authority. This is the first barrier from superior. Then second barrier from superior is lack of confidence in subordinate. Means some manager have doubt about their subordinate ability and skill to accomplish the task. In such a situation, manager try to complete the job on his own. For effective delegation, it is necessary that subordinate should work under the guidance of superior and then he should be allowed to take decision of his own. Then third barrier from superior side is fear of being exposed of inefficiency. Some managers are inconfident with some managers are incompetent. Such inefficient managers are afraid of their subordinate being exposed of their inefficiency. Therefore, they show unwillingness to delegate authority effectively and effective delegation of authority is possible when manager is ready to accept his default or defect. Then next barrier from superior is difficulty in briefing of task. Means many times manager are not able to brief out task to his subordinate. Hence, instead of delegating, they prefer to do work on their own. And last barrier from superiors is personality of superiors. Means personality of superior also affect on delegation of authority. For example, autocratic leaders delegate less authority compared to democratic leader. Similarly, manager having faith in modern management techniques like to delegate more. Manager who in his life have not get much authority of decision making from his superior is likely to delegate less authority. These are the barriers from superior for effective delegation. Then next one is barriers from subordinate side. First one is fear of criticism. Fear of criticism means due to the fear of criticism for mistake in decision making, subordinate hesitate to accept the authority. Then second one is lack of self-confidence. Lack of self-confidence and initiative of subordinate prevent them from accepting authority. Then third one is avoiding the accepting authority. Avoiding the accepting authority means they may avoid accepting authority because these are no positive person gain to them for assuming extra responsibility. The next one is spoon feeding subordinate are not ready to accept the delegation. Means some subordinate like to be always guided by their boss. They like spoon feeding. Such subordinate are not ready to accept the delegation. Then last one is overburdened subordinate are not ready to take the additional responsibility. Means some subordinate are already overburdened of work. They are reluctant to take additional responsibility. These are the barriers from subordinate side for effective delegation. Fear of criticism, lack of self-confidence, avoidance of accepting authority, spoon-feeding subordinates, and overburdened subordinates. The next one is guidelines for effective delegation. First one is clearly defined goal. For meaningful delegation of authority, the objective or goal of an organization must be clearly defined. Subordinates hesitate to accept the delegation if they do not know clearly what is expected from them. Make the nature and scope of task clear before delegation of authority. Then second one is clearly defined authority. The authority and responsibility must be clearly defined, which help to prevent overlapping of authority. It enables manager to know his limits of authority as sign equal authority and responsibility. Proper motivation. If there is no positive incentive, subordinate hesitate to accept the additional responsibility. Hence, subordinate should be given positive incentive for accepting the responsibility. Manager who have delegating authority should also be rewarded properly. Then next one is appropriate working environment. Management should try to create a healthy environment of trust and belief in which subordinate will easily accept responsibility. Management should provide adequate information and resource to subordinate for effective delegation. The next one is proper training. Subordinate must be properly trained for proper use of delegated authority. This enables to develop self-confidence. The next one is effective communication. There should be free and open lines of communication. This enables subordinate to get help of manager while discharging duties. Sound communication enables the delegator to be always in contact with subordinate. Then next one is effective control system. Proper control techniques should be used to take care that authority is properly used. Control system should not interfere in day-to-day activity. It should focus on major deviation from standard. Then and also do not make subordinate accountable to more than one superior. Then last one is avoid overlapping of split of delegation. Then avoid overlapping or split of delegation takes place when responsibility for the same task is assigned to more than one, and splitting occurs when responsibility for the same work is assigned to more than one organizational unit. This is the guidelines for effective delegation.